Hello, hello. Today we are talking about human design. I talk about human design probably at least once, if not 50 times a day. And then today I got off of a call with a friend and I was like going over her chart and she was dealing with some stuff. And I'm like, let me bring back up your chart. Let's talk about human design and how you're designed and maybe some stuff that's coming up. And just being able to share the basics of human design has been so fun to see people like light up and have some aha moments. And so here it is, an intro into human design. I'm going to share kind of what the next few episodes are going to look like on the podcast. Hey, I'm Lacie Jaye, and this is Hey Lacie Jaye, the podcast. And today I'm talking about one of my absolute favorite tools that I have used within my life over the last few years. So we're going to dive into kind of the background of human design, a little bit of why I like human design. We're going to make it short, we're going to make it sweet, and then where to go from there and what to look forward to. So I like to think of human design as a guide back to you. It is to be able to get in touch with who you are. I've been talking a lot about confidence in women and just being able to trust yourself, and it is so incredible and so powerful when you can fully understand who you are and you have some tangible things to be able to hold on to, like a blueprint. Without knowing much of the history of human design, I remember learning about my human design and I fell in love. I felt so seen, I felt so heard, and there were even things that I hated about myself or grew up not liking that ended up being a gift and something that I have learned that is actually powerful within my own personal human design. So I plan on sharing over the next few episode releases, taking my own human design chart and sharing about what it looks like for energy type and what does it look like for a profile and your strategy and your not self theme. All of these terms that I want you to get familiar with if you are interested in human design for yourself, and then being able to grab your own chart, which you can get, and I'll put that in the show notes. I actually found human design after a major faith crisis. I shared on my old podcast. I have not fully shared the details on Hey Lacie Jaye, the podcast, but it came at a time in my life that, I didn't know what I believed in. The word God was terrifying. In fact, I used the word bing bong for a lot of times because the word God it held a lot of shame and guilt and frustration. And in a time where I wasn't so sure who I was anymore, here comes human design. And it's been a tool that I'm like, oh my gosh, like everything I in one way believed, in the sense of that I was uniquely created. I'm this amazing woman with gifts and talents to share with the world. And here I have this tool to be able to help me understand what the gifts are, how I work within the world, how I exchange energy with the world. And it was fascinating. I was like, oh my gosh, like I felt like God put that into my life on purpose. And I guess just from that perspective, when I started learning about human design, I was terrified because it's, in 1987, Ra Uru created this system, right? It comes from astrology, it comes from the I Ching and the chakra system and the Kabbalah tree of life. And all of these systems to be able to say, you were planted with a seed of energy from the universe at that time, and it was something that your soul came to embody. Well, someone coming from a very Christian background, I loved human design. I loved it. I felt it, everything. I loved so much about it. And then all of a sudden I'm kind of learning the history of it, and I'm like, this is scary. What am I doing? It's going against everything I grew up with, and yet I still didn't know what I even believed because I just went through this faith crisis. And here we are. I could not deny, like, it was the missing piece in my self-love journey, and I couldn't deny it. And so I just continued moving forward with it. I said, the fact that for the first time in my life that I can actually listen to this voice inside of me and not think that it's from Satan, like, I'm actually trusting myself. I'm getting trust and confidence in who I am. And it was so empowering to the point where it almost makes me like realize, like, okay, God, like, isn't this who you have created us to be? And so that's kind of the history of human design. But to give you an idea of what happens, so the history is with those systems, but to get your own personal human design, you are going to get what's called a human design chart. And so when you go to get that chart, you're actually going to put your birthday, your birthplace, your birth year, and your exact birth time, which is super important. And if you're unsure of when your birth time was, you can look on your birth certificate, you can call the records for your state, you can ask your mom or your dad or your aunt if they kind of have an idea of when you were born, because if you don't have that exact time, it does change things within a chart. It can just kind of depend. So if you can get that time, that is key. And so again, I'll share the link in the show notes of where you can get your free human design chart so that you can get yours downloaded. You can start learning kind of the basics of it. I just share a couple highlights when you get your free chart. And then, of course, you can always message me on Instagram or email me and, ask questions. But from there, we are going to, again, I'm going to go over all of the key things and the basics of human design with you over the next few weeks. But friends, it's just so fun because when you start to understand like who you are, your energy type, and how you have this energetic trade with the world, like, it is so cool. So if you ever like walked into a room and you felt the vibe and you're like, oh, something's a little off, or you're like, here for the party, right? That is your energy field at work. It is able, the energy field is able to speak way before words are spoken. You are able to feel things before words are spoken. You can even feel a room even if opposite words are being spoken. You're like, yeah, but the vibe's off. Something's not right here. Something's not matching up. And I just think that it is so fun to be able to have that and to be able to understand that. Again, I think the biggest thing is coming out of your mind and what's so stuck up here, what society is telling you that you should do to be successful, versus dropping into your body and actually learning how your intuition speaks to you as an individual. We are all designed differently. Every chart is just slightly different in so many different ways, which we will dive into, but being able to listen and to really understand who you are, how you best make decisions, and really it's like living by your design. So my mentor, one of my mentors, Jenna Zoe, I just loved how she wrote out like the different things that we'll go over. So I'm just going to read them to you. But essentially it is helping you to make aligned choices for your life. I mean, what could that do not only in your personal life, in relationships, in parenthood, in business, being able to say, while the world is screaming that this is how you're supposed to do it, you can actually drop into your body because it's saying, hey, go this different direction. And I've shared this in previous episodes of why I've decided to do more of the podcast, why I decided to build a website, even when the social media gurus said, don't build a website, you don't need it. I am starting to take that path of listening and dropping in of what I'm supposed to be doing versus what the world is screaming. Because these people who are successful, and this is just a quick side note, especially because we live in such a digital and social media realm, like, it's not that these people are wrong saying this is the way to be successful online. It's just that they actually stepped into probably their design, whether they understood human design or not. They stepped into that, and that is why they're successful. The problem is when they say this is the only way to go, this is the only way to do it, and that's just not true for everyone. And for everyone who says to go this route, there's someone else on this side saying, this is how I was successful. And then it gets really exhausting and really tiring because you're like, who do I listen to? Where do I go? Your head is spinning. And then you literally go into analysis paralysis. I have a funny story about that. I'll have to talk about that one time. But I guess that's where human design comes in, is you are truly able to start trusting the decisions that you have and that you need to make. And I say this with, like, not only over the last 2 years have I been slowly moving into this and making small little choices. What coffee cup do I want to use? I think I just shared this, but I can't remember where I shared it. But like, for me, we had an enema kit that was fine. It worked really well. And I did not want to do enemas. Like, I did not like it because I didn't like the looks of it. I didn't like the feel of it, I guess. But then I bought another one and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. This brings me joy. And I love using it every day. And now I just shared that I shove things up my butt and put coffee up there to the whole wide world. So you're welcome. This is my life. Anyways, to the point that I'm in a new stage of like this next chapter, having to make a really big decision right now in my life of letting go of something that with people that I love and things. Like, there's a part of it that I love so much, being able to help people, being able to be there for people, and I love the people so much. But there's something that's no longer in alignment, and my heart is saying not even my heart, but every part of my intuition, my authority in human design is saying, it's time. Like, you have to make this decision. I've been putting it off. And I actually end up physically getting sick. And so when we're not living by our design, or we know we're supposed to be doing something that then we're not listening to that, right? We get stressed out, we get frustrated, we get stress. And what happens when we get stressed? At some point, it usually starts to manifest in a physical form in your body. And that is exactly what happened to me. And so it's funny because here I am, like, I don't want to let go of this job because of the income that it can bring. And yet here I was sick, not even able to go to work for like 15 days. Well, I'm not making money anyways at this point. So I might as well start making that decision to move forward in fully going all in what I know I'm called to do, which is just this journey through confidence coaching for women. And I'm so excited because human design plays such a large role in that, and what that's going to do for women as a tool, or that tool for you in your life. And to me, it just, like, for women to be able to be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not crazy. Like, this is my design. This is who I am. It's almost a release and a relief, because they are able to say, I've been going against this my entire life, and this is actually a part of who I am, and it's actually a gift, and it's actually something that is so beautiful and powerful that I can use in my life. And when they just start to radiate because they're like, this is who I am, and stepping in and feeling empowered and encouraged and making decisions that feel in alignment and feel really good to them, there's just nothing like it. And I mean, I'm talking about human design has transformed my own personal relationship with myself and that trust with myself, that trust that I hope to give other women. It has transformed the way I show up as a parent and raise my children, because they're two different energy types, and not even to put like labels on them, but to understand who they are at a completely different level allows me to be a mom who understands them in a way that I could never understand them before. And that alone is so powerful. It's changed the way I look at my husband and the way that he has energy and the way that he is in life and how he has to run. And just realizing we're opposite, where I have tons of energy as a generator and he has very limited energy as a projector, and that, he needs a lot more rest than I do. It's not because he's lazy, it's just I have a lot of extra energy. So if you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. I talk about it every freaking day. And to give you an idea of what we're actually going to go through, these are the 6 things. The next episode in order is energy type. That is how energy flows. Then we're going to talk about strategy, how you make things happen most easily. We're going to talk about signature and your not self, which is how your higher power shows you when you're in and out of alignment, signposts saying, hey, you're off track. You may want to kind of look at this area. Number 4, authority, how you make the right decisions. 5 is your profile, which is your persona, your personality. I have been learning a lot about myself in this profile, and I'm excited to be able to dive even more with my own clients within the profile part of human design. And then 6 is gifts. What are you naturally good at? We have a lot of this highlighted within our chart, and that is what I plan on going over with you so that you can kind of start to understand human design. Let's freaking go. I'm stoked. I'm pushing myself through this. Hold on, let's see what I have on my chart. Oh yeah, I think I was going to go through it a little bit more, but that's okay. So anyways, what you can do next, if this is something that is calling your name and that you are excited about, you can get to the show notes. Well, it's www.heylaciej.com/human-design. Otherwise, it is in the show notes. You can grab your free chart. It is going to give you the very basics. It's going to give you your design, your chart. It's going to give you some tidbits on some of the things that I think are super key so you can start thinking about it. And then the coolest part is once you get your human design chart, you are also going to be sent emails to go over the basics of human design just in general. And that way you can start to learn how it works. And then I'm also coming up with something and creating something called Within, a guide back to you, as well as coming up with a one-on-one coaching. If you have questions or something you want to dive into with your design, we can get on a one-on-one call to where we can chat about things. So we can start diving into this and then see where it leads, how you want to talk about it. It can go into life coaching. It can go learning, whatever you want. We can just go over it for you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey. I'm very excited to see where this continues to go, and thanks.